What's up everybody, this is Ven bringing you another mock spotlight where we typically take apart what you build. Today's episode is going to be very special. We're not really going to take apart anything in particular. Instead, we'll be taking a look at some of the best creations by Adazai, who is unfortunately no longer with us. He passed away earlier this month, and I would just like to take this moment to recognize his contributions to the community. So I'll say this, I won't take too long, I won't do any scores at the end of this episode, because all I really want to do right now is just show you guys how cool his mocks are. And I'm also going to say, just before going further into this, all of his mocks were actually created with LEGO Digital Designer, which for those of you who may not be familiar with this, is a program created by LEGO for LEGO fans across the world to be able to create and build with nothing but their keyboard and mouse, offering a nearly endless inventory of various LEGO parts to work with. I haven't really gone over these kind of mocks before, mostly because I haven't really worked with LDD myself all too much, so it's kind of hard for me to really make a critique if I don't know what I'm talking about. So hey, let's see what we've got here, shall we? So the first mock we'll be taking a look at is called Alugigus, or Alagigis. I'm gonna stick with Alagigis. It rolls off the tongue a little bit better and it just sounds cooler, you know? Now, for my fellow Pokemon fans, no, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not a Pokemon, but it is more than likely inspired by the Regi Pokemon like Registeel, Regice, Regirock, and of course Regigigis or Regigigas. I don't know. But at first glance, I will say I instantly thought this mock was supposed to be Registeel, because it really does have that look to it. It's kind of got the same aesthetic. Not really the same body shape, because that's definitely the biggest distinction here is the body shape. Second biggest distinction would be that big cannon thing on his head. But yeah, no, not supposed to be any of these Pokemon. Adazai intended for it to be a unique creature with its own unique backstory. But we'll give you this, folks, I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume where his inspiration came from. All that aside, this is a very interesting mock. It's got a unique body shape, some well-defined features, such as these multiple red eyes, the cannon thing I mentioned earlier, the big freaking hands with these grabby fingers, and just the whole mock itself has a very distinguishable shape that just looks so otherworldly. The next mock I wanted to take a look at is called Winda. It's a big blue dragon, well, not really a dragon, kind of like a serpent with wings type of thing. And I gotta say, this one instantly grabbed me because I'm just into this sort of thing. I really love dragons and serpents, wyverns, all that kind of weird mythological stuff, you know? So this really spoke to me. It spoke to me and it said, look at me, I'm beautiful. Look at my wings, they're gorgeous. You wish you had something on me. You wish that you were as pretty as I am. That's the impression I got from this mock. It also looks pretty simple and minimalistic in terms of texture and detail, but it still looks really cool to me, especially since the smoothness and simplicity of it is just so consistent. And sure, the wings don't really carry over this simplistic style, but I think this is very forgivable. The wings look great. I just mostly enjoy the texture of these wings, because it really reminds me of feathers. So I don't know, it makes sense for me that the wings would look differently. And then the head of the serpent just looks really well put together. Got some nice dragon-like characteristics put into that. Very much neato indeedo. Now the next mock I want to take a look at is called the Red Power Brick Mithran Temple, or Mithran. Mithran? Wow, I can't pronounce anything this episode. But regardless, this mock is really intriguing, because it's not like your average mock that you see on the mock spotlight where it's this tall humanoid bionicle looking character or some kind of creature or whatever. No, this is architecture, and this architecture is hype, dude. Like, it looks so freaking cool. It's got like a sense of creepiness to it with all the minifigures just kind of embedded into the walls, and it's like there's some kind of mystery to it. Like, why are these minifigs here? Why are they staring so blankly at each other? Why am I so fixated on these minifigures and their purpose? And like, the aesthetic and the colors just all remind me of a dungeon or something that you'd run into in the original Legend of Zelda game. It could be the way that LDD displays the colors of the parts here that makes it look a little bit like that to me, but either way, the color choices were intentional to some degree, and I'm a fan of it, because that, and again, the aesthetic, like, really give me that impression that it's like that room you enter after beating the final boss and you're about to claim the sacred red brick or something. Oh, sorry Mario, but the sacred red brick is not in this castle. It's actually in this big blue dungeon thing. Now, there are two more mocks I wanted to take a look at, and the first of which is the Sea King, Lugia. And that's right, Poke fans, this one is definitely, most definitely, not a Pokemon. It is actually a mock based on Adazai's own dog. That's right, it's not a Pokemon, it's a dog. Specifically a Yorkie. So you were wrong, dude. Sorry. Okay, yeah, no, who am I kidding? It's totally supposed to be the Pokemon. And this one is probably my personal top favorite mock from Adazai, because I mean, it just looks awesome. It's a very accurate representation of Lugia. And sure, it doesn't have eyes, really, but you still get the idea. It's got all the right details in the right places, placed oh so thoughtfully and carefully, and the shaping is just so on point. Like, he really did a great job capturing Lugia's design in Lego form. The round thickness of the body, the blue spikes all over the back and the tail, the huge wing hand things, and he even managed to make it almost fully articulated. It's just very well done. And now the last mock I wish to go over is his very first mock ever built with LDD. That's right, folks, this is where it all began. And it's very simple, the build isn't all too complex, but it's got a good color scheme and clearly some imagination behind it, because it's like this wolf person, werewolf thing with these deadly, dark and edgy weapons of darkness and edginess. It's an interesting start, and most of all, and really the most interesting aspect about this mock is just seeing how much Adazai evolved from it. Because as we saw earlier in the episode, none of his mocks really look anything like this. Over time, he got a little bit more creative with his part selection, his versatility greatly improved, and he basically ended up making a complete shift from CCBS to system-based creations. And it really is fascinating to me, because as I started to look at his mocks, I also got a bit of context behind his story, and basically the reason why he worked so closely with LDD. You see, for the past 20 years before passing, Adazai had dealt with a physical condition known as Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which involves the weakening and deterioration of the muscles over a long period of time, but that did not stop him from building with Lego. It had actually influenced him to build with Lego using LDD, describing himself as an LDD mock creator in a wheelchair. And it's rather phenomenal because even without knowing that, you can tell that just by looking at his creations that he put a great amount of effort into them. Adazai set an admirable example for everybody, not just those with this particular condition, and not just Lego fans, but really anyone who may feel unable or discouraged to be creative or expressive in general. He didn't treat his condition as a disability or anything like that. Rather, it seemed as though he treated it as a minor setback that he had to work around, and work around he did. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and the rest of this channel in remembering Adazai, a fellow Lego fan and a fellow artist who was just as friendly as he was creative. And thank you for watching. See you all next time.